Right about now, Law Nation will be like, Voch, talk me off the ledge. Help me out. I need answers. Well, I couldn't just give this reaction last night. I had to sleep on it and think about it and ponder a little bit, because if you watch my first video, or if you keep up with this channel in general, you would understand I wouldn't be the happiest with the Leighton Vander Esch pick. But I just can't be emotional. I just can't be irrational. I can't dismiss logic. You know, I'm just not going to pretend like this team and the front office just lost its mind out of nowhere. I mean, if you look at the past picks that we've brought in, we normally draft well, but when you're in the heat of the draft, you sometimes lose sight of those things, right? But you got to sit down, you got to think rationally. Rationally, why did we get Leighton Vander Esch? And that's what I kind of want to talk about today. So I just want to give my initial reaction. I want to give y'all, thoughts about the film. I want thoughts about the player that we're getting, the fit in the scheme, things like that, and why the Cowboys may have liked Leighton Vander Esch. And like I said, man, I wasn't the happiest. I was actually, and you can go watch Lieutenant Dan over on Unintentional Grounding. He got a pretty decent reaction to me, and I look pissed off. Over on Mark Holmes' channel, I look pissed off there as well. But I wasn't pissed off because Leighton Vander Esch is a bad player in my brain. He just wasn't the pick for me at the time. I was super Will Hernandez, Isaiah Wynn, Harold Landry guy. And based on how the board was falling, I was thinking that we're going to get one of those guys at least. But to walk away with Leighton Vander Esch with the thought of Hernandez or Landry on my mind, of course I was going to get emotional. I was going to feel some type of way, but emotional isn't supposed to last forever. Emotion is just, is based on reactionary things. So if I sit down and think of this logically, sure, he's not the guy I wanted, and he probably wasn't the best player skill-wise, but for what the Cowboys are looking for, he may have been the best player to kind of fit what they want to do on defense. If you look at what the Cowboys did last year, they drafted 5 DBs, right? And why would they do that? They it's kind of like a purge almost. We wanted to get rid of Claiborne, rid of Carr, rid of Church to bring in this infusion of youth and speed, guys that were faster, guys that were younger, that we can hold on to for cheaper for 4 or 5 years. So when you look at the makeup of our defense now, we have a top 3 pass rusher there. You look at the Tampa 2 defense, in which Marinelli runs, and people hate, but I don't see how you hate it, because he takes scraps and he gives us top 10 defenses every year. The 2 most important parts of that defense is middle linebacker and 3 tech. Right, and if you feel good about David Irving as a 3 tech, cool. Then Malik Collins could be your 3 tech. Tyrone Crawford could be your 3 tech. We're solid at 3 tech. We're good at defensive line, contrary to what you guys believe. But we were missing our pure middle linebacker. Sean Lee moving to Will was a godsend for us, but maybe Jalen Smith isn't the guy we need at middle linebacker. Maybe his athleticism puts him more in a better Sam linebacker position. Why? Because maybe he can chase around big tight ends. Maybe he can pass rush on 3rd down a lot better. So we're really missing this hole of Mike linebacker, and Mike linebacker is the most important position in a Tampa 2 defense. And also, when you think about how the rest of the draft panned out, or will pan out, like talent-wise or whatnot, think about this. Say you wanted to get a guy like Josie Jewell later, right? Well, he's super smart and intelligent, but his physicality, his physical traits, the phenotype doesn't add up. He doesn't have the movement, the coverage ability, the speed to get you where you want to go. Let's look at other linebackers like Jerome Baker or Malik Jefferson, right? Those guys, they have the physical side of the game. They're super athletes, but they guess. They're not physically smart. They're not smart, rather. If you look at Leighton Vander Esch as a combination of traits, he has the size. He's 6'4". I say he's 6'5", just based on the eye test, but whatever. Combine nerds, go in the comment section, help me out. He's 6'4". 250 pounds and can move his ass off. Let me pull up the combine look for y'all. So to be that big and to run a 4.6 40, knowing what we saw on film with his coverage ability, with his sideline to sideline movement, and he's big enough to give you a little bit of movement in the middle, Leighton Vander Esch is pretty much what you're looking for in a Tampa 2 linebacker. So Voch, why not take a guard there? Well, maybe they feel like they can address guard later. Or why not take Harold Landry? Well, if you bring in Harold Landry, there's kind of already a bunch of musical chairs with our defensive end situation, right? You know, we're not putting faith in Randy Gregory or whatever, but he could come back. We have Crawford playing left defensive end. We have DeMarcus Lawrence is there. And he's on franchise tag now, but he'll probably get paid later, whatever. And we just drafted Taco Charlton last year. So even though Landry would be valuable to us, he would come in year one purely as a pass rusher until we put size on him, until he gets acclimated to the system. If you look at Leighton Vander Esch, he's probably going to play middle linebacker one day. And Jason Garrett is going to do the whole guy got to earn his spot deal. That's cool. But I'm more so of the throw him in the fire because we've done it with rookies before camp, right? So in training camp, sure, Leighton Vander Esch is possibly going to be your on the bench in training camp, but after a little bit, it's going to be inevitable, and Leighton Vander Esch is going to be the starting middle linebacker. Now, I want to show you guys some film right here, right? So if you want the full-blown film session, you can go to my channel, Voch Lombardi, and search out the Leighton Vander Esch video. I'll probably try to link it in the description and in the situationship somewhere. But just a handful of things. We're going to talk about pros and cons right now, right? I have not changed my stance on Leighton Vander Esch, even though people think that I think Vander Esch is terrible. That's not true. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's soft. I think he's bad with his hands. I don't like that shoulder thing that he does. But when we talk about the elite traits that we talked about earlier, we have a guy in Rod Marinelli who's a level 80 wizard that just happened to teach people how to use hands and vision, pretty well, So if you look at Leighton Vander Esch, right? I feel like I said earlier, man, this kind of soft thing that he does here, somebody in my comments was like, oh, Voch, he's holding him. Well, if Leighton was a little more violent right here, he wouldn't be held. So I blamed it on him. That's his fault. Jerry Jones compared him to Rolando McClain or something like that. I mean, I think McClain had a little more ass whoop to him, but what Jerry is talking about is size-wise. Right, size-wise, it is 100% a comparison, just a big force in the middle. Now, is Leighton Vander Esch imposing? No, but with a little bit of technique, can he be? Yes. This is what I mean by when he hits the hole, he puts his head down and he loses track of what's going on in the backfield, right? First of all, I'm not a big fan of leading with your shoulder. Lead with your hands, be strong, disengage, and go find your target and go get them, right? Leading with your shoulder, that's Leighton Vander Esch right there, powering up in Super Saiyan. Leading with your shoulder, I mean, when you drop your shoulder, you drop your head, and you lose vision when you drop your head because your eyes are attached to your head, right? Somebody's gonna have to teach him how to deal with that. And like I said, we can. And it's not like Leighton Vander Esch is like some weak dude. Like, he's strong, right? It's just that he's not using his strength properly. And Leighton Vander Esch could probably get rid of, he can probably get by on just being bigger than some guys, just having size in the middle. Like I said, hopefully he does develop some violence. Hopefully he does develop his hands. He learns how to keep his eyes up and use those instincts that he has, right? I was saying earlier, how would he fit inside of our scheme? Okay, look at this right here. Take a look at this. You see Leighton Vander Esch actually using his hands here, right? He has a solid jab move with his right. He's going to get his hand in the offensive lineman's chest plate. Leighton Vander Esch got those long arms. He's going to separate, find the ball. His head is up, chest up. He's going to find the ball carrier. He's going to get in on the tackle. That's some positivity. That's what we need from Leighton Vander Esch moving forward. Not that old crap, right? Another way to hide Leighton Vander Esch, and I use the word hide, loosely or whatnot, but I wouldn't call Boise State's D-line like top tier or anything like that. But if you look at what we're gonna do on defense with whoever's gonna play left end, then we got Lawrence, and we're gonna have Irving, hopefully Malik Collins, whoever else, right? And then we have day 2 of the draft, day 2 and day 3. We're going to need defensive linemen to keep Vander Esch clean, right? So if you got guys that are super focused on Irving, which is why I think he's important in this Tampa 2 situation. If you have guys that are super focused on Irving, super focused on Lawrence, and a one tech that can really take up a lot of space, what you have here is an offensive line that's fully dedicated to the defensive line in front of it. Now, even though this guard is coming off on the front side backer, Leighton Vander Esch is running free right now. Whenever you allow Leighton Vander Esch to run free, he's going to seek the ball out. And even better, this dude right here, that could be Jalen, that could be Sean Lee, right? However we put this combination together, the more guys that we have to keep defensive linemen off of our linebackers. Just imagine Jalen Smith, Sean Lee, and Leighton Vander Esch running free, right? So that's why D-line, in my opinion, is going to be important in day 2 and day 3, right? Because we have athletes. Also, I've shown on my Dallas Cowboys film session that when Sean Lee is on the field, that things pretty much come easier for everybody on the defense, right? Like if you're Leighton Vander Esch and you're lined up against this front right here, you can go, okay, it could be a jet sweep here, it can be a counter here, it could be a quarterback thingamajig here. But if you have Sean Lee over here saying, hey guys, it's going to be one of two things, and if not, just drop back to your lane, it cuts things down, right? So if Leighton Vander Esch goes, okay, if I don't see this, then it's got to be this. If it's not that, it's going to be run. If you just limit the responsibilities for Leighton Vander Esch and you keep his run lanes clean for him, then things like this happen, having General Sean Lee on the field, right? A little bit later, I'm going to talk about fit and, you know, people telling me, like, what if Sean Lee gets hurt? Well, I think this is a prime example of what happens, of why we pick Vander Esch also. Like I said, man, the Cowboys are a talented team. You know, we just lost 7 games last year, right? Let's take a look at Vander Esch right here. Vander Esch is a smart football player, and throughout the process, he will indeed get smarter. And one thing that can help him deal with blocks in front of him is being first. Right, if you look at Vander Esch right here and look at the Oregon guard here that's gonna try to block Vander Esch. If Vander Esch, see his reaction to the ball carrier right there. See how quick and instant that is. If Leighton Vander Esch can be quicker and first, then the blocker won't get a solid purchase on him. He won't get a solid set of hands on him. He won't be powerful enough to move Leighton Vander Esch because he's such a big dude. If this would have been a smaller linebacker, he probably would have been tossed out the way, right? But if we can use Leighton Vander Esch's reaction time to its full potential, then maybe guards are going to have a hard time getting hands on him. Plus, hey, Leighton, use your hands. Hey, Leighton, be violent, be nasty. Let Rod Marinelli cuss this dude out and turn him into a gangster with his reaction, with Sean Lee next to him, with an imposing defensive line in front of him. We might have some action with Leighton Vander Esch. Don't get me wrong. I'm not changing my opinion. He's still soft, and I like Harold Landry. But I'm just trying to get us to understand the fit. We have to deal with this at the end of the day. He's a Cowboy right now, right? So this is just me getting y'all to understand the fit. Leighton Vander Esch is also great in coverage. He's probably the best linebacker in this class in space. The YouTube Illuminati is taking money away from your favorite content creators, and people often ask the best way to support the channel directly. I tell them that's subscribing to my Patreon. Just $1 a month would increase production and the frequency of uploads. Basically, that means more content for you. For less than a bag of almond M&Ms, you can support the channel, call dibs on requests for future videos, and you can have access to Patreon exclusive material like my throwback film sessions. That's patreon.com/Voch Lombardi. I appreciate the support. Doski Woski. Salute. In space, right? Even Roquan Smith. I like Roquan Smith, right? But I think Leighton Vander Esch, what he does with his reaction time, with his speed, and just his angles that he takes, right? I think he's up there with Roquan. I think Roquan is an overall smarter player. But that's neither here nor there. This is the one big play that shows up on all the highlight tapes, right? Well, as it should. As it should. We got Leighton Vander Esch right here leading things off, right? His responsibility 9 times out of 10, like I said, I'm not the defense coordinator here, but it's probably first back out, right? So if you're reading the defense in front of you and this running back right here, where's my cursor? This running back right here is the first one out. Well, Leighton Vander Esch, that's your guy. And it's going to turn into the bubble. It's overall football smarts. Now, you're in position, Leighton Vander Esch. You're at your landmark. Now, what are you going to do? Are you a good open field tackler? Not to mention, he got here quick, fast, and in a hurry. Yes, you're an open field tackler and you caused the fumble. He caused a lot of those, by the way. He Stephen Jones, if you listen to some of his interviews, Stephen Jones was like, hey man, this guy's gonna get us a lot of turnovers. Well, that seems to be the thing. Let me pull this back up. Damn. That seems to be the thing. Leighton Vander Esch got a lot of fumbles in college. He got a lot of interceptions in college. And I think if you're working with General Sean Lee, I think your football awareness is going to continue to get even better, and it's going to lead to even more turnovers. Like I said earlier, it's all about how you work out of your base defense. You know, that's going to determine, you know, I think that's what this pick was all about, making our base defense more diverse in a way to handle offenses, right? You know, as you know, you may have one team to say, hey, our linebackers aren't fast or athletic enough, so we have to go to nickel to deal with the pass, but we're good against the run. Well, just get a team, run the ball, no huddle, transition into a passing team, and now their team is a weakness. Well, if you look at, let's say for instance, if we have Cheeto at left corner, Jordan Lewis at right corner, whoever the hell we're going to have at safety, look at our linebackers we have covering. Assuming Jalen Smith is going to be strong, Vander Esch is going to be Mike, and Sean Lee is going to be your will guy. Then we're basically adjusting to a pass heavy league. You know what I mean? The Cowboys are really one of the only teams that are really run heavy these days anymore. But a lot of quick stuff happens over the middle, right in this little area right here. A lot of quick stuff happens, and you need linebackers that can run, that can cover, that can tackle. Right? Not changing my stance. Not changing my stance on Leighton Vander Esch. I'm just simply being rational and telling you what we can expect. So when you look at what our front could be versus the past, me and Lieutenant Dan was just talking about playing draft defense. So when you look at, I mean, the Giants just drafted Saquon Barkley, and I know he's going to be a part of that passing situation, right? Well, we got linebackers that can deal with that, whether it be the Eagles and their running back passing situation, their tight end passing situation. You know, even the Redskins, they may figure out a situation in which they'll be more prolific passing out of the backfield or over the middle or something like that. You know, Alex Smith is one of those type of dink and dunk guys, even though he, you know, kind of has some big plays this year or whatever. We're basically building our defense to be able to handle that, right? Because we drafted all of those young DBs last year. We have a solid linebacker core that can deal with that type of threat. Plus, you know, like I said, we're going to figure out safety. Lordy, if you bring Earl Thomas up in here, that's just me having that conversation with y'all. You know what I mean? So, you know, that's just what we have on our plate, right? People saying, well, what if Sean Lee gets hurt again? Well, okay, cool. I think if Sean Lee gets hurt, you just move Jalen to will linebacker. You keep Vander Esch where he is, and I think we're talented enough to bring Byron Jones in. We can keep Cheeto and Jordan Lewis on the outside. What the hell just happened here? You can keep Cheeto and Jordan Lewis on the outside, you know. So I think bringing in Leighton Vander Esch, it addresses a need, and it also adds to our new defensive identity, in which we're gonna stop the run really early, and when it's time for you to pass on us, good luck. But we're gonna do it all within like 3 formations, opposed to changing into 9 different packages just to adjust to you. You know, we have Leighton Vander Esch now. We don't have to bring in a brand new player to cover your tight end. Leighton can go cover your tight end, and we can blitz Jalen or something like that. It's just a lot of different things that we can do with this same personnel group, in which I think we don't have to hide guys anymore. If we would have drafted a guy like Josie Jewell, I'm back to that, and I'm not hating on Josie Jewell, but he would have to come off the field on 3rd downs, because, you know, some of these running backs would pick on him. Nobody's going to pick on Leighton Vander Esch in space. Plus, he can work within his run game, right? That's just me. That's just me trying to help talk y'all off the ledge a little bit. Hey, man, tell me what you think about the Leighton Vander Esch pick. I'm sure a lot of you guys hated it, but after you've heard what I had to say about it, I had to sleep on it and come out the next day with it. Now tell me what you think of our defense now that we have Leighton, Vander, Esch manning the middle of this thing. Leave a like if you liked the video, disliked if you totally did. Whatever. Hit the subscribe button if you need to. And that bell next to it so you know when I drop random ass videos in the middle of the week just like this. If you're at the draft, I'll be there too. I'll be chilling with Mark Holmes or something. Look out for my live streams. I'll be giving out my location and all that. And follow me on Twitter, Voch Lombardi, VOCHLOMBARDI. Y'all hold it down for the Doski, Woski, and the Peasky Wheesky. Go Cowboys. Salute.